Thanks for joining. Today we're going to talk about a dashboard I created that kind of incorporates images as backgrounds, but also kind of dives deep into this time of sport. Little backdrop, some context. I recently saw the Netflix documentary about the Tour de France. I believe it was about the 2022 Tour de France. It was really cool. I really liked it. Primarily because I knew nothing about the sport, or at least how the tournament was scored, or the strategies of the different teams that would go about in competing. So it was really a good kind of clean slate for me to kind of learn about not only the sport, but the competitiveness that is embedded into the sport and to the what they call the Tour de France major for cycling. So it was really a good watch for me. I recommend y'all check it out. It's on Netflix. A lot of it is dubbed, so it's good. And there's some English, but there you can also pick out some other language, but it's subtitled, so you won't miss much. But I really liked it. For those of you that have seen the F1 series, the golf series, this is kind of around the same realm of what they dive into in this time in Tour de France. So, with that, I decided to kind of dive myself immensely into the sport and learn about not only um, the strategies behind it, but also the data behind it, and what can I do with the data that I'm provided to give you guys a dashboard that kind of explains not only the sport, the tournament, but also gives you results, some data behind to kind of show you the results that occurred. This time, what I did for my dashboard, I centered it around the 2023 Tour de France, and I wanted to kind of use all that and put that into a dashboard, along with using images as backgrounds, and create more of a long form dashboard. So, with that in mind, let's switch over to the screen now. You'll see the beginning of my Tour de France dashboard, and I'm gonna walk you through it. But first, I have it on full screen projection, and let me scroll down real quick just to kind of so you can get a sense of the whole dashboard. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about. I want to walk you through just the images I use. So I knew I wanted to create kind of a background of images that kind of set the stage for the Tour de France. So I thought immediately I'd like to get a Tour de France logo. I wanted to get some images around Paris. Primarily, you can see right here the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. I think that's what it's called in Paris. So, and that there you see cyclers kind of riding through that. I believe that's the last stage, stage 21. And then I also wanted to get here, kind of get a picture of the 2023 overall winner, Jonas Vingegaard. I think hopefully I'm saying it correctly. And then I have another picture of the Tour de France, this time of a team picture. It shows a bunch of folks, a bunch of cyclists in the same team riding, all in a pack. So I thought this would be a good backdrop to talk about teams that are in the Tour de France, that normally compete in the Tour de France. There's my credit there, team pictured, Ineos Grenadiers from the UK. And then lastly, I wanted to show a separate kind of photo. You see the cyclists there, but they're actually on a mountain backdrop. So this is one of the mountain stages. And I thought this would be a good backdrop to kind of show how you can cycle through all the stages. And notice, so I have all the stages there, and you can have specific information for each of the stages. Okay, so those are the images. Did some minor modifications in PowerPoint on those images. So a lot of it you can tell already. What I did was I added somewhat of a black background drop. So notice the image here kind of has like a shadowy background to it. I did that because I definitely want to keep a consistent black background to the dashboard, make it uniform. So it also not only makes it uniform, but you can see how these are all distinct images uh, overlaid on tiled containers. But with the black background and the black background of the dashboard, it all seems to be one cohesive image going down. And that's what I like about it, because you don't see any breaks, and it's really more smooth, and it serves as a true background. And then you can see the data that you put on top of that kind of pops out. Okay, some other stuff that I did, I added some shapes. Notice how I added these kind of curved box shapes to the images. I did that because I already kind of had a plan of what I wanted to scheme out as far as what to show, what visuals to show. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of add some shaped backdrops, primarily so that I can kind of fit the visuals inside those rounded shapes. And of course, I use the grid option in the dashboard to make sure I kind of had everything lined up within those shapes. So then I also added, you can tell I added here some shapes for the filters, some shapes for the parameters. So as soon as I kind of had that all plotted out, then I was able to kind of modify those images and get it ready to put into Tableau. So before I forget, make sure that if you're going to do something like this, where all the images are kind of cohesively together and it kind of is consistent, it's all uniform. Make sure you plan it out ahead of time. Make sure that you even draw it out on paper. Try to scheme out a template that you feel would be good. Have in the back of your mind already what you're going to show. I knew I wanted to show some maps. I knew I wanted to show some bar charts, talking about you know distances of each stage, the date. I knew I wanted to talk about maybe a line graph that kind of showed elevation. I wanted to show some kind of heat map to show uh, ranking by stage. You can see here I have another kind of a box chart there. So I wanted to incorporate a bunch of visuals, but I also wanted to make sure that, one, I planned ahead of time so that I kind of knew what to do when I started developing. And then two, there's not really much back and forth when you're developing if you have it planned out in time. Okay, so let's talk about this first one. If you're like me, you don't know much about Tour de France or cycling, especially if you are in the States. It's mainly more of a European popular sport. But the competitiveness, I would argue, is second to none. There's a lot. It's definitely a team environment, definitely a team sport. But I also want to have some kind of you know dialogue about the sport, about the Tour de France, so that it gives a reader that has is coming in cold at least a little bit about what cycling is, what the Tour de France is. So I'll read this real quick. The Tour de France is a multi-stage annual bicycle race primarily held in France. It's the oldest of the three Grand Tours, the Spain one and the Italian one. The race was first organized in 1903, presently a UCI World Tour event, typo, which means all teams that compete are UCI world teams with the exception of organizer invites. All stage races are road races that vary in distance and elevation change. And I got that from Wikipedia. All right, this I got from biketips.com. Most riders on a team compose of varying skills on their bike, some being characterized as all-arounders, sprinters, climbers, time trial specialists, and domestiques. A team that would work together can help the rider with the highest probability of securing the lowest general classification score to grab the overall title. One example of assisting a team member in the lead could be creating a drafting envelope for the leader to conserve vital energy for the decisive moments of the race. So you need a well-rounded team, some that are good in mountain stages, some that are good in flat stages, some that are time specialists, and then some that are, really kind of you know, jack of all trades, but are really humble and willing to kind of create uh, those drafting envelopes to basically help your all arounders or your sprinters conserve energy until it's time to kind of break out of the group and go and try to get the podium for that stage. Okay, so notice here I have a map, France, and northern Spain. All these are going to be marks for the stages. Notice how I overlaid a legend of each of the marks. There's the flat, hill, time trial, and mountain. And then if you hover over them, you can kind of view some descriptive notes on each of the stages with your tooltip. And I have a smaller picture here. Notice I have a picture here of these cyclists, all with different colored jerseys. And those are different colors because those are actually winners of the previous stage when that picture was taken. So I thought it'd be good to kind of add some description on what those different jerseys mean. I mean, you have team jerseys, but if you're wearing these specific 4 jerseys, it means something. So let's kind of have some note here. It says hover over jersey icons to learn about the classifications. So we'll do that really quick. I'll hover over the green jersey, and immediately I have some information from Wikipedia about the green jersey. Polka dot, yellow, and white. Okay, really quick. White jersey. It's given to the youngest rider that finishes the stage first within that cohort of all classified young riders. I believe the age for a young rider is, if I have it here, 26. The yellow jersey is given to the one that has the lowest score at the end of each stage. Okay, polka dot. It's given to those that are have the youngest composite score for the mountain stages, and the green jerseys added for the sprinters. So they're given to the first 15 riders to finish the stage. Points are given to those riders, and then so you start accumulating points for those stages, and the one with the highest number of points gets to wear the green jersey for that stage. Okay, let's scroll down now. Now, I say here the famed race spans across 21 stages, primarily stages in France. So let's talk about the stages as a whole. I have a bar chart here that kind of overlays all the stages. And it's a dual bar chart, but notice I have a dual synchronized axes one, so I can have a note here at the end, but I can also have a note in the inside of the bar. So this right here tells me this is stage 1. This was held on July 1st, 2023. A distance of 113 miles or 182 kilometers, and an elevation gain of 3,200 meters. And it's listed as, or I think characterized as a medium type stage, medium mountain, right? So you have mountain medium, mountain high, flat, hill. You have a time trial in there at the end, or towards the end, and a flat at the end. So wanted to add a color legend by elevation gain, just to give you immediately some aspect to which stages are, have the highest elevation gain. And then I also wanted to add the map again here with the stages, but I also had a highlight feature, so you can highlight over the stage mark in the map and then see which ones I am referring to. There you go. Okay, so really cool. Not only do I have those aggregate measures for each stage, but I also was able to secure some GPS coordinates for each stage. Now, I did create a video in the past on how to work with GPS coordinates in Alteryx. So I'll add this as a video that you can click into at the end of this video in YouTube, and you can go back and kind of go through that workflow on how I characterize all the different GPS coordinates. So in Alteryx, what I did was I took every little point in the route and calculated the GPS coordinates. I sorted them, I ranked them, and then I also was able to basically have enough data to kind of show the elevation gain and the distance of each stage by a visual like this. So you can kind of see each stage by its name, the aggregate distance, aggregate elevation gain, and then more of a representation, a visual of each stage. So the elevation gain, the length compared to other stages. So I like this. I like the way it looks. Even as a standalone, if I wanted to bring this visual into a sheet by itself, you can really see the dips and the steep increases in elevation for each of these stages. Okay, let's go down here to the backdrop of Jonas. And then here I thought We're showing the winner on the image, so let's go ahead and talk about overall results. I created a tree map here. Notice how I created it. I could create a jersey tree map or a total distance tree map. The jersey tree map, I can kind of see who has held that jersey throughout the race the longest. Obviously, Jonas won, so you could kind of figure that he would have the yellow jersey at the end, which he did. And if you hover over each of these cohorts of the tree map, you can see Jonas earned the yellow jersey 76% of all stages. And then, of course, you had some other folks here that had the yellow as well. Tadic had the white jersey for 100% of the whole race. So he representing all 26 and younger. He was the top cyclist for the Tour de France. And then you also have Polka Dot. I had that as red, and then the green jersey here. You can also change that to total distance. So I basically use a parameter here to change the visual here from the tree map over to a total distance view. So while that's rendering, it looks like it's about to get done. While that's rendering, we'll go ahead and talk about this one real quick. I went ahead and brought, there we go. I went ahead and brought the kind of a heat map for all the races. So I took in all the races and their overall ranks. And I basically ranked or put together where they resulted for each stage. So notice how you have the rankings for each stage. So you can go immediately to a race and see where they finished on each race. And then so we go to Jonas, who's in the background. Where is he? There he is. We go to Jonas here. You can see how he finished on each stage. And of course here, this is actually can change by this filter. I have it listed by general, by all the climber stages, all the overall results. So if I go to overall results, you can see Jonas at the very top, since we're looking at the overall, and see exactly how he ended up. You can go to the youth, Tadic, and see how he basically held firm the whole race. I'll switch this back to results. Now back to this, we use that parameter to change the tree map to this total distance. I kind of wanted to give you a feel for each stage, just in terms of distance. So notice the lines. I thought it was a pretty cool visual. I like this one on top better, but I wanted to show this one to kind of give you a sense of just distance, you know, and just to kind of get a feel for each of the stages all seen together. Okay. All right, real quick, I got two more. Bottom one shows a team photo. So I wanted to give some visuals on the team, right? So I have average age by team. These are all the teams that competed, all the names, their nationality of the team, and the official kind of sponsor, what bike that they're using, and their average age. Then I also had the nationality of all the racers, and you can kind of see which countries represent the most when looking at all the riders. So you can see here, France obviously is a big contributor to the race in terms of racers, but you can also see all the rest of the countries too. So United States, 6 riders, France, 32. I have a filter here. So if we wanted to look at specifically, let's say we wanted to look at the United States team, which is the Lidl Trek, I can click on that filter there, And that'll change this to get a representation by country of writers for that team. So you can see there's all these countries represented for that United States team. Let's try the one that's pictured, the Ineos Grenadiers. Okay, 3 from Spain, 2 from Great Britain, 1 from Poland, and 2 from Colombia. So I thought that's pretty cool to kind of get a sense of the teams in general in terms of a whole population, but also kind of, you know, pinpointed down by a certain team and get a feel for where all the writers are from. Okay, last one here. I like this a lot because I'm using a lot of parameters here to kind of switch back and forth between the stages. Right now, what you have here is a stage 1, which is Bilbao in Spain. And notice how I use those coordinates, which I alluded to earlier in this video, that I kind of manipulated in Alteryx to get a sense of plotting each of these coordinates in the map here. So green obviously is your start, red is your finish, and you can kind of see how the route takes place over a map. And then based on the stage 1 results by classification type. You can see all the results for each stage. General, climber, youth. Here's that view that I was telling you about when using that I created in Alteryx. All the points of coordinates, all the elevation change, the distances, give you a sense of what the stage looks like, and the stage view by distance. So obviously, here's stage 1 represented by all the adjacent visuals. So all this is going to stay the same. But if I were to change this to say, let's go to stage 8, I see that it's colored orange in the stage view by distance. There we go. Look at that. Got that elevation, high elevation change. Probably a mountain. It's characterized as a hill stage. Now let's go to a mountain high. Look at that. Stage 9. All right, stage 9. Boom. High probably starts at high elevation, a lot of elevation changes. There's your route, your finishes. Let's go to the last stage in Paris. There we go. I like this a lot. You can go back and forth between stages, get a kind of an aerial view of the stage, how it looks, the elevation, the distances, the classification, all set up here on this bottom image. All right, there's my site. Hey, I created it. And then, yeah, but overall, I like this a lot. I like how the images serve as backgrounds to what I'm going to talk about. You got the logo there, the stage 21, but to get an overall view of the race, the view of image of Jonas, all the results. Back to tree map. You have the team. Get a view, a sense of the teams, average age, nationalities. And then this last one that has the mountain stage view. But you can go back and forth between all the stages and get a aerial route view, elevation views, view by distance, all the results. Yeah, so I think for anybody that's coming into this forum not knowing too much about cycling, the Tour de France, this is, I think, a good start to kind of learn about the sport, all the individual stages, get a view for how teams are compiled, and I like it. It took a lot of time for me, a lot of background, uh, front-ended planning, drawing on paper, templates, choosing the right images, doctoring them in PowerPoint to get them all kind of uniform, making sure that it looks like one cohesive image, and then applying the shapes based on the types of visuals I wanted to show. Of course, some back and forth. I didn't like the way this looks, so let me change the shape a bit. All within the development process, and then just making sure that it all kind of gelled in together, and that's what I liked about it. But yeah, overall, I like this output. I hope this kind of walks you through not only the sport, how I put it together, all the different visuals. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Send me a note on LinkedIn or add a comment on this YouTube video. Connect with me on Tableau Public, and I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. Okay, take care. Bye.